Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. And I end up alone, I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Ain't got no place to call my own. Feels like I'm better off alone. So sad inside and hopeless. These Hollywood hoes never notice. Can't get back on. You're gone, girl, I miss you. Can't get back on. You're gone, girl, I miss you. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. And I end up alone, I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. How'd I end up alone? I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. How'd I end up alone? I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you're Hollywood perfect.
Yeah, I'm on my way home. I'm no good for you, so I drive around Manhattan. They're all laughing, oh, I'm tragic. Yeah, I'm driving in my car and seeing open bar. I can't go down that road again. I'll smoke a cigarette, but will that help me forget you? Will that help me forget you? I just need to forget you. Oh, you. I need to treat you better than that and make you feel like I did in the past. Oh, I will treat you better than that. I don't need to forget you. I need to treat you better than that and make you feel like I did in the past. Oh, I will treat you better than that. I don't need to forget you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to TTML. We are here for Division 1 action. It is season number 3, as we take in round 5 of the championship here around the British Grand for the British Grand Prix around the Silverstone International Circuit. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as always, and joining me in the commentary box, it's not a Tuesday night without him, it's Mr. Luke Etheridge. Luke, how you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Good evening, James. Good evening to everyone that is watching at home. The home of the very first Formula One World Championship race way back in May 1950, of course. Silverstone Circuit has changed a lot since then. What hasn't changed is it's extremely high speed and it always seems to provide good action.
It really does provide good action out on track, and I think it's one of those tracks that we love as commentators, the viewers love, and the drivers love as well, and that's what a league race should be like. Looking at the drivers' standings then coming into tonight, of course, Lando took the win last time out in Austria. But what did that do to the championship standings? For Pettem leading the way on 104 points by 7 points from Medium Pilot coming into tonight in second on 97. Bullet Boy in third on 89 in third. Amazing Arrow in fourth on 70 with Laser in fifth on 67. Matthias in sixth on 62. Then a bit of a gap to Volbeek and Verstappen in seventh on 47. Just a note on that, Volbeek has got a 10-second time penalty to beat Alonso's time at the end of a race after an incident last time out in Austria. Mashiva went ninth on 45 and Lando running off the top 10 on 43. Looking at the second half of the standings, we have Noon in 11th on 38, Kuhn Bloy in 12th on 37, Schafflelli in 13th on 32, Dobby in 14th on 31, then Detamo in 15th on 30, Carlsbury in 16th on 29. A lot of drivers within 1 point of each other. Combi in 17th on 23, Zerdimer in 18th on 22, Armadi in 19th on 18, and Venom in 20th on 15. Looking at the constructors as well, Racing Point leading the championship coming into tonight. We'll have an analysation of that before we go into qualifying. But Pettem leading the way, Luke. 7 points the gap to Medium Pilot. Bullet Boy only 15 points behind the leader. How's tonight going to plan out?
Well, if you said a bit like last week, Pettem, he'll be hoping for a better qualifying this time around. That's really what worried him in Austria. He didn't have the best of qualifying. It's the first time we've seen him a long way down the grid. He got involved in a lap one incident, and even the safety car couldn't really save him. That's why he finished way down in 12th place. But we've had 5 races so far this season, 5 different winners, and Pettem isn't one of them yet. Despite winning the championship, there's not really been anyone who's took hold of this championship yet and looks like building a massive gap. Like you said, it is only 7 points at the moment. Mathematically, any of the top 3 drivers could end up leading the championship by the end of the evening. Amazing Hour further down's had some bad luck. Laser hasn't had a podium yet, but he's been really consistent. I'm afraid to write anyone out at this stage of the season because there is still 6 races to go, including tonight. Plenty of points up for offer, but now is the time where the drivers who really want to put in a serious championship challenge need to show that they've got that step above everyone else, in terms of pace and in terms of consistency.
I think, honestly, yeah, speaking about the pace angle, we're certainly going to see quite a close qualifying session, I think, tonight as well. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that is all going to unfold. Let's have a look at the constructors' standings as well. Racing Point leading on 140 points, Ferrari in second on 133, Haas in third on 120, McLaren in fourth on 114, Williams in fifth on 102, Red Bull in sixth on 100, with Alfa Romeo in seventh on 84, AlphaTauri in eighth on 57, Renault in ninth on 33, Mercedes in 10th on 24 points. Racing Point only got the same amount of advantage as Pettem has got over Medium Pilot coming into the constructors' battle. How are we going to see that plan out tonight as well, Luke?
That is very true, but an important point to make is that Ferrari, tonight is different because Carlsbury isn't here. They've had their drivers there at every single race so far. Medium Pilot's only done 4 out of the 5 races, and XL Lando's only done 3 out of the 5 races, and they're still leading the championship, so they're doing pretty damn well at this moment in time. I think even Lando was shocked by how well things went for him last time around. I'd say they're looking very good in the Constructors' Championship. Haas are sort of quietly working their way up there. Bullet Boy doing very well now, 3 podiums in a row, and Dobby getting his best finish of the season last time around. Racing Point's the only team at the moment that have looked like having 2 drivers who are going to be constantly on the pace and fighting for wins and podiums on a regular basis by the looks of things. So, don't want to say they're the big favourites at this moment in time, but it wouldn't surprise me if they start extending that gap over some of the other teams.
Yeah, I think it's going to be key to see how all the drivers get on and how the constructors as well shape up coming into tonight as well. We are running a couple of minutes behind schedule, I believe. There's a couple of drivers that we're still waiting on joining the lobby. You're in the best capable hands, though, of myself and Luke Etheridge taking you through the action, of course. While we wait for those drivers to join, let's have a look then at the circuit, the Silverstone International Circuit, here at the home of British motor racing. And 18 corners: Abbey, Farm, Village, The Loop, Aintree, Wellington Straight, then down in towards Brooklands, then through Luffield, then through Woodcote, on the run down towards the old turn 1 at Copse, Maggots, Beckett, Chapel, Hanger Straight, Stowe, Club, and Vale and Club. There we are. How's that for knowledge?
Not bad whatsoever. I also, Vale and Club, I always end up mixing them up, so expect me to rename that final corner 26 times during the 26-lap race. Still got to say I'm a bit slightly sad that the names Bridge and Priory weren't mentioned there. Of course, you last used in Formula 1 in 2009, but improvements needed to be made for the facilities. That's why we've got this new layout. It has lengthened the track slightly. It has made it a bit more high speed as well, and you do see some incidents quite often on the run down into Village and the Loop. Quite often cars, especially on lap 1, go for optimistic overtakes. We saw Kimi Raikkonen get together with Lewis Hamilton a couple of years ago. Hopefully, the drivers will keep it clean tonight, because you do not want to make 2 pit stops around this circuit. It's such a long pit lane, probably one of the biggest pit stop loss times of the season.
Yeah, it's something like nearly 30 seconds, I think. It's 27, 28 seconds overall, but honestly, that's where the race could be won or lost. It's such a long pit lane around here. Say, for example, if you're coming out of Beckett's and you're coming, and the driver ahead of you is coming into the pit lane, that's about a 30-second advantage that we'll see just deficit away, running down in towards the final couple of laps of the race. So it's going to be fascinating to see. Of course, at 5.8 kilometres and then 3.6 mile, C1, C2 and C3 compound, softs, mediums and the hards. I was commentating around here last night in League of Europe Formula 2 in Division 2, and that turn 3 that you mentioned, the Village section, that is a real pinch point on the circuit.
Yeah, definitely. It all seems just concertinaed together on lap 1. One thing we haven't mentioned yet, which I think is really important to mention, the British weather can always play a part on this circuit. Wouldn't it be that surprising whatsoever if we didn't see any of the C1, C2 or C3 compound of tyres? And that's always makes it a bit difficult with the setup around this circuit. You do need quite a bit of downforce anyway, because of the nature of the high-speed corners of the track, especially over the Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, Copse. You wouldn't want to do any of them with quite low downforce on the car, but you need some decent straight line speed to be able to overtake around here. There are 2 DRS zones, but because Brooklands and Stowe aren't really heavy braking zones, it's not the easiest to get overtaking done, so qualifying will be crucial.
Qualifying will be crucial, and speaking of qualifying, we are about to get going then for this 18 minutes worth of qualifying session, and then of course we've got a 26 lap race after this. But without further ado, let us get started. Let us go into qualifying. Welcome along everyone to TTML Division 1. We are here for Season 3, Round 6 of the Championship, as we take in the Silverstone circuit for the British Grand Prix. It's going to be a fascinating night's worth of action. 3 compounded tyres, of course, C1, C2 and C3, softs, mediums and hards. Softs and mediums always get used around here compared to the hards, where you'll be literally killing yourself trying to go on those tyres, and that will end up making a one-stop strategy work. My name is James Head, Luke Etheridge of course alongside me in the commentary box. Let's have a look then at this historic track, the host of the first Grand Prix ever in Formula 1. 5.8 kilometres, see the drivers go around 18 turns with 2 DRS zones. 1 down the start finish straight, 1 down towards Wellington, down in towards Brooklands, 1 down in towards Stowe at turn 15, and it's going to be fascinating to see. Built of course on a former World War II airfield, and now we're about to get going into qualifying. And one thing that we can note, it's actually dry for once in Britain. Unbelievable.
It's dry, but I wouldn't say it's too bright out there. There's a tiny bit of blue sky that I can see at this moment in time, so I imagine it will be a dry qualifying. Being a bit cooler as well is good news for the tyres. It means you'll have a bit more tyres left at the end of the lap. You won't have overheated them too much by the time you get through Stowe, Vale and Club. So all the drivers, well, quite a few drivers, heading out very early early on, so maybe I'll be eating my words very shortly about the weather staying fine, because if we're seeing a lot of drivers heading out on track early, maybe they want to get a lap in because they know there's some rain coming.
Yeah, they do want to get a lap in. I think that it's important to try and get a lap in around here because you can pick up invalidations quite a long way around the circuit, especially through Maggots and Beckett and especially through Chapel as well. Yellow flag in Sector 1. I'm not sure if somebody's actually spun it coming out of the pit now, if somebody was just going slow there. Green flag racing once again here in qualifying as now Schiaparelli were on board with the first man out on track. The German will be hoping for a really good result. He really hasn't had the rub of the green so far this season, TTML. How do you think he's going to get on tonight?
Well, I'm sure I saw him in the chat earlier. He called himself a Britain merchant or something along those lines. So that's setting yourself... That's confidence for you. But as you said, it's pretty easy to invalidate around here. And I'd say one of Schiaparelli's specialties, unfortunately for him, is managing to invalidate laps in qualifying. And he usually has to leave it quite late, leave a bit in hand just to set a banker lap. Then you start in the midfield. He's having to fight his way up. And then you start seeing mistakes happen, or you start seeing him, unfortunately, getting involved in contact with other drivers as he's trying to try something different. But it's crucial for him that he has a good performance, and I think crucial for Williams that both Amazing Hour and Schiaparelli have good races. They've probably been the unluckiest pairing so far this season.
Yeah, they really have, and now Schiaparelli is going to come out of Vale and then through Club, and let's see what the German can do out on tracks. He now comes through Club at turn 18, and now runs down this 5.8 kilometre circuit here at Silverstone, down in towards turn 1 at Abbey, and then through Farm, and then up towards into the village section for the first time on this flying lap. And if he calls himself a Britain merchant, then I'm a Formula 1 racing driver as it comes through turn 4. He really didn't do well in League of Europe around here, let me tell you that, as he now comes out of Aintree, formerly, of course, where the British Grand Prix was held for a couple of seasons, and now on the run down towards, on the Wellington Straight, on the run towards Luffield, and through the first sector, it's 25.8, I think, through the first sector from Schiaparelli, which is not a bad lap so far from him, as he now comes through in towards Luffield, and now out of Luffield comes in towards Woodcote, and now on the run down the old turn 1, down in towards Copse, Culverloyn and Hamilton, remember, in the wet, nearly overtook each other, down in towards turn 1 then in 2008, but now up towards Maggots and Beckett comes Schiaparelli, and it's going to be fantastic to see if he can get a really good lap. He's flying through the Maggots and Beckett section, now comes out of Beckett, on the run out of Chapel, runs onto the grass slightly, and coming through the middle sector, the 101.1 on my screen there from Schiaparelli in that middle sector, so it's not a bad lap so far from the German, as he now comes through in the Williams in towards the final couple of corners. And let's see, 34.3 was his middle sector time, as he now comes through the final couple of corners. Through Vale, and then in towards Club. That is a lap of Silverstone, and Schiaparelli's lap time is going to be in the 123s, I think, coming across the line. Comes across the line. It's a good lap from Schiaparelli, as he puts himself up to the top stand, up time to the standings, and it is a 123.967.
Yeah, some pretty good laps coming in now. Medium Pilot heading towards the line. He goes into second place on a 124.074. Drivers managing to keep it clean at this moment in time. I'm interested in the fact that Laser and Imadi have got the medium tyres on at this moment in time. The undercut, the alternate strategy is possible around here, but we've already mentioned it's not like there's absolutely loads of tyre wear, and you'd probably want to be starting higher up, as overtaking can be quite difficult indeed. But they're going for the mediums now, whether that's just to set a banker lap on those tyres, and we'll see the softs later. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, 24.7 from Laser. He's only 7/10 off actually on Schiaparelli, so it's not a bad lap there at all from Laser. We saw Venom go into 9th position, Machivo up into 8th. I'm a D, 25.2, 5/10 of a second, separating those guys out on tracks. We flick through now to see who's coming down into their final couple of corners. As that, I think it's Kumblai going up into 4th with a 124.1, so not bad lap there from him. As now Dobby comes in towards Vale and Club, as we see more movement up the field. I think there's Bullet Boy going into 6th, as now Dobby comes around the final corner in the Haas, comes across the line, and he goes 4th, 24.1. Schiaparelli down to Venom, covered by 6/10 early on.
We knew it was going to be close. It always is in TTML Division 1 so far this season. Interestingly, Lando was actually fastest in Sector 1 and decided to back off on his lap. He hadn't invalidated, so whether he feels like he just made a bit of a mistake and wants to save a set of tyres for later, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. The winner of last week, proving that at Austria, the alternate strategy does definitely work. I'm on board with Matthias at the moment. 27.5 first sector, 34.4 second sector, so probably not quick enough to challenge those towards the top of the order at the moment. We'll see if he can go roughly where Detarmo is, who is his teammate for tonight, as XL Noon is unavailable this week. And Matthias, last place at the moment, 125.022. Feel like he's got more to prove in that car.
Yeah, last driver on the set of soft compound tyres there, 25 flat. He is ahead of Armady though, so he's into 14th position. So he's the second last driver out on track. Venoms has just started up on a lap. The Greek man now coming through Varm and in towards the village section at turn 3. 6 minutes through qualifying. If you just joined on at this point, you would have expected qualifying to be very close, and it is. Chapelelli out on top. Medium pilot second, Pavetum in third. There was a bit of a lock-up there from Venom as he now comes down in towards the onto the Wellington Straight, where the international track, of course, sets about with the Grand Prix track, and that comes now through in towards in towards Brooklands, in towards Luffield. Goodness me, I'm messing up my words here tonight. Venom's through the first sector though, 26.7, so it's not too bad, it's not too quick either, as Venom's now comes on this lap towards Cops.
Yeah, nice and flat there through Cops there from Venoms. Not going over sharply to the right-hand side of Chapelelli. I did think that was a bit strange of a line that the Williams driver took, but he's the only driver in the 123s at the moment, so if any other drivers are watching it, maybe we'll see them try something a bit different. Venom's leaving a bit to task as well through Chapel there, so just taking it nice and steady. 34.3 middle sector. That is very competitive indeed. This could be a very good time. If he nails this final sector, he could easily be up there in the 124 ones, maybe even quicker. Nice and steady through the final couple of corners, and we'll see what the Mercedes driver can do. Oh. You're not going to set a quick time doing that. Just got too much on the curb, and the Formula 1 tyres are quite grippy. They do prefer tarmac, though, to the AstroTurf runoff areas.
Yeah, Bianchi there coming into the pit lane as well, but Venom's having an invalidation coming out the final corner. So gutting really for him. His lap time would have been a 124.306 and would have put him 10th with that lap time. So not a bad lap there from the Mercedes man. We have got a few cars as well out on track. Chapelelli and Medium Pilot and the likes about to begin on their laps. I think Chapelelli is the furthest on, if I'm not mistaken. So Luke, do you want to take us through this lap?
Yes, I can do indeed. Chapelelli just giving himself a bit of space, perhaps. He can see the racing point ahead, I imagine, on his track map, and just wants to be nice and careful if that racing point is on a hot lap, but it is not. Doesn't want to interfere with everyone, taking it wider through the chicane just to try and get that best possible run. Let's see what he can do then. Chapelelli, only man in the 123s so far, heading up through the gears, 192 miles per hour as he turns into the apex there, so about 305 kilometers per hour. Heavy braking then for Village. Recon not really in the best of positions there. Chapelelli probably just losing a couple of hundredths there, not being able to use the full width of the track through onto the Wellington Straight. But DRS really opens before you even get into a straight line. That is how much pace he has got in that car, and 16 thousandths of a second at this moment. Nice and steady through Brooklands into Luffield. There's about 100 different lines through this corner. Chapelelli decided it to take a bit tighter on halfway through and then a bit wider on the exit, cutting it tight there at Woodcut, down the National Straight into Cops. We'll see what sort of speed we've got there, about 304, 305 kilometres per hour at the apex. Very good indeed from the German driver. Now Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, many drivers' favourite sequence in Formula 1. Still a challenge even in a modern Formula 1 car. DRS open once again. He's gone purple in the middle sector. This is looking like a very good lap so far from Chapelelli. Is it going to be enough to get him even further into the 123.9s? We'll have to wait and see. Just runs wide at Stowe. Decides to ditch it into the pit lane as Lando, 123.797, and Perpetuum is out of the session.
Perpetuum is out of the session. I'm not sure whether that is actually out on track. That is coming through in towards Chapel. So I'm just trying to pinpoint that Renault coming through there. There's Venom out on track to time at D. Medium Pilot goes to the top of the standings in the meantime. Can't really see from there. The car has disappeared as I've gone through everyone. But Medium Pilot now out on top by 500th of a second. Lando in second. We have got lap times going on from Kuhn Bly, Recon and the likes as well. Recon is coming through the first couple of corners, but Kuhn Bly now coming out through Beckett and on towards Chapel, and let's see what he's doing through this middle sector from Kuhn Bly. And it is when it updates, I'm not sure if the middle sector's been registered on mine. 26.7 through the first sector though from Kuhn Bly. He now runs in towards Vale and Club. The Tarmo goes up into third, so clearly these track conditions are beginning to improve and the lap times are beginning to fall. Chapelelli, I think, went up into fourth there. Miz now went up to fifth. Kuhn Bly across the line, he goes fifth, 23.973. Not sure on my end why I wasn't updating his lap time.
I checked on my end, he wasn't actually faster in the middle sector, but he set fastest of everyone final sector, so must have had things absolutely nailed through Stowe, Vale and Club. I'm on board with Recon at the moment. He's getting a bit of a slipstream down the hanger straight from his teammate. I'm not sure whether that's intentional, but I'd imagine it is. The Shazoo boys working together really well in the Alpha Tauri team at the moment. I was going to say Scuderia Toro Rosso then because it started with S, but that's the old name, Luke. Let's not start calling them a Minardi either. But Recon coming through the final couple of corners keeps off that sausage curve, which I think is what caught out Venoms earlier, and goes up into third place. Now Recon, he really needs a good performance tonight. He's 23rd in the championship at the moment. A driver of his calibre would definitely think he should be higher up.
He definitely will be higher up, I think, if it wasn't for just silly mistakes that he's been making throughout the season. We saw in Austria last week where he just catapulted himself in towards the final corner, taking out a couple of drivers in the process as well. That's the old Recon. He's given Mashiro a bit of a slipstream as well, just in behind, running down in towards Wellington, or down the Wellington straight in towards Brooklands, and then in towards Luffield at turn 7, and then through turn 8 at Woodcote, which will come up very shortly indeed. Let's see what the Division 2 champion can do as we see a movement further up the field. I think Bianchi has just gone third, if I'm not mistaken, on his return to TTML Division 1, 23.8 from the Italian, as that is Mashiro going off towards Buckinghamshire there, I think.
Yes, of course, this track, interestingly, is half in Northamptonshire, half in Buckinghamshire, which is why I think they called it the 70th anniversary race, because Northampton/Buckinghamshire, depending on where you're standing GP, didn't quite have the same ring to it, but there we go. Mashiro then, he's another driver who's been quick this season, and Bianchi going up into third place just made me think of, we have had a reserve driver win a race this year. Detarmo won at Azerbaijan. Lando, of course, was originally a reserve and then got a full-time seat, and he's taken a victory, and Racing Point are looking good for a 1-2 at this moment in time. There's a lot of quick drivers in this field, and that is why Perpetuum all of a sudden is down in 11th place, despite only being 3 tenths off a pole position, but he can't improve his time. I can see him dropping a few more places.
Venoms is on a good lap here as well, 34.3 through the middle sector. It's pretty much purple out of everyone in the first sector, so let's see what Venoms can do as the Greek man now comes through Vale and in towards Club through 16, 17, and then through 18. These corners come up very quick indeed. Venoms across the line, he goes 5th. Good lap time there by Venoms, 23.885. He's about a tenth and a half off Medium Parlour in the lead, and look at how the top 11 are standing over 2.5 tenths of a second separating the top 11, and you've got Dobby Detarmo, Matthias Chapelari, Kuhn Bly and Amazing Hour within a tenth of a second.
This is so close, and I think if teams are doing a slipstream at the moment, they've got to look at the timing differences and think, we've got to start thinking, where can we do it? Do it down the hanger straight. If you gain a tenth of a second, let's say if you're Amazing Hour, at the moment you're talking about moving up 5 places. That is a huge difference. Drivers have really got to think about working together wherever possible to gain some possible big amounts of time. We saw it work at Azerbaijan, where it's probably the easiest track to do it, through the final sector, but it is worth it at this moment in time. We've seen how close the grid is at every single race so far this season. Who's going to get pole position and who's going to get them 2 bonus points?
Amadi not on a good lap here, 34.5, and it's going to be fascinating, as you say, to see who is going to get those 2 bonus points. Currently Medium Parlour in the slip, in the right position really, out on track, 23.7, Lando 23.7. Amadi now comes across the line, and he goes 15th, 24.1, found a lot of time in that final sector. So Amadi going up into 15th position, less than a second separating the whole field, and if you exclude Mashiro out of all of this, pretty much the top 17 drivers are covered by, what's that, 6 tenths of a second, just over, 6.5 tenths?
Fair to say it's pretty close at the moment. 2 Racing Points on their final hot laps. Medium Pilot quite a long way ahead of Lando, so there's no team communications going on between them. We'll see if either can improve. Medium Pilot got pole position last time around.
I've just tried to go on board with Kimi Räikkönen out on track. I'm not sure if anybody saw that on the top right-hand side of your screen. Medium Pilot.
You can also go on board with Valtteri Bottas if you really wanted to. The Finns are taking over here.
Oh, goodness me. Medium Pilot is on a lap time, though, coming down into fourth cops. Lando, Bianchi, Recon, second, third, and fourth. And let's see what Medium Pilot did through the first sector. 26.669 through the first sector for Medium Pilot. Lando, 26.627. So he's 400s quicker through that first sector for Lando. And he's just coming in towards Maggots and Beckett's now. Medium Pilot out of Beckett's and now coming down the hanger straight. And it's a 34.2 through the middle sector. Lando has actually gone off halfway through Beckett's.
Yes, similar place to where we saw the Ferrari of Perpetuum go off earlier, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's a similar incident, just taking a bit too much curb maybe through Beckett. Slightly later for we saw for Perpetuum, so I wonder if he tried to save it and was unsuccessful, as Medium Pilot has gone even faster there, and as I went on board with Recon, the car just disappeared off the screen. I don't think he'll be too bothered about that at the moment, but Medium Pilot looking very quick indeed. 2 minutes to go in this session. Is anyone going to be able to beat him? Chapelele, of course, was going quick earlier on. His first lap still good enough for 9th position. Only needs to find a quarter of a second and he could get his first pole of the year.
Kuhnbly's on a good lap here as well, coming through the final couple of corners. He's got an AlphaTauri just ahead of him, out on track, which I believe is Recon just coming around the final corner to start off his lap. Kuhnbly goes up into 8th, got a little bit of dirty air in that final couple of corners to cost him a little bit of time. Recon then has gone on to lap. Armadi has retired into the pit lane. Just seeing who might be furthest on the lap. I think Venom might be the one of the furthest on out on a lap as he comes through Luffield at turn 7 through the right-hander. His first sector not looking too bad through the first sector for Venom. As I'm just getting it up on my screen now, 26.796 for Venom through the first sector. So about 2/10 off what Medium Pilot and Lando have been doing out on track. But now Venom comes out of Cops, and let's see what he can do on the run down towards the towards Maggots and Beckett, and then down the hangar straight. And let's see what the Scotsman can do. He flies through and he's crashed. Venom, I should say, out of the session, and that car has gone spinning off. That's the 3rd time we've seen that tonight.
Yeah, well, we might be able to see a purple lap time coming up soon, though, from Chapelele. He was fastest in Sector 1, fastest in Sector 2, nails the final corner, 123.519. I believe that is what they call a statement. He is fastest at the moment. Is anyone going to be able to get close to him? We've got a Red Bull heading towards the line, but I think that is just Matthias, I should say, getting ready to start his flying lap. Recon currently in 5th place. Oh, and he's binned it coming out the final corner, drifting his way around. So if he did want to give his teammate a slipstream, he is not going to be able to. Drivers are pushing so hard, pushing it to the track limits, and sometimes a bit over. And we can see it's a bit old-fashioned, this track in places. There's grass, there's sausage curbs, there's all sorts of things to punish you. Perpetuum, Armadi, Venom, and Lando all falling victim to that.
Which is so unfortunate as well, out on track. Later, I think, is the next one to come across the line. He's actually invalidated on his lap time. Bullet Boy, I think, is behind him. No, Bullet Boy is not behind him. It's the other half of Dobby who was behind him out on track. And now he's on a valid lap. So let's see what the Brick can do. Out on track through the middle sector, it's a 34.3. So not too bad, actually, through the middle sector. Let's see what Dobby can do, though. As now Tom has reached breaking point, really. Chapelele, Medium Pilot not getting a lap time in. Recon not getting a lap time in. He's retired out on track as well. There's a crash out on track from Bullet Boy, who was spun out coming out of Woodcut.
Yeah, so Bullet Boy out. He was actually looking very good and improving at the time. He'll be able to continue, but obviously won't improve. Venoms goes up into 2nd position then in the Mercedes. Good lap from him. Who we got heading towards the line now? I think it's pretty much Machero's the only other driver on a lap at this moment in time, and he has improved in both the first and the second sectors. He's about 3/10 up on his personal best at the moment, so we'll see what sort of time he can do in the AlphaTauri. Don't think he'll be challenging any of those towards the top of the order, and he doesn't indeed. He goes into 14th place, but Chapelele getting his first pole position of the season. He said he was a Britain merchant. He's proven himself to be right.
Absolutely brilliant from him out on track. Venom's there in 2nd, Medium Pilot as well in 3rd, but Chapelele, Britain merchant, I called him out earlier on, saying why he's a Britain merchant. That's why he is a Britain merchant out on track. 23.519 is the top. Venom's in 2nd, Medium Pilot in 3rd. Whole field is covered by just over 0.8 of a second out on track, excluding Raikkonen and Bottas, of course, who did not set their lap times, and I tried to mistakenly go on board with Kimi Raikkonen in the qualifying session. I'm never going to live that down. Honestly, is now we come to the end of qualifying, and there is your grid order. Chapelele out on top, and Venom's filling out the front row. Medium Pilot and Lando, the 2 Racing Points, 3rd and 4th, with Bianchi in 5th, Recon in 6th, Amazing Hour in 7th. Dobby only 1,000th off. Amazing Hour's lap time in 8th, with Tatamo in 9th, and Kuhnbly filling out the top 10. Tyson 11th, Medium Pilot at Perpetuum, in 12th. Bullet Boy in 13th, only 1,000 off on Perpetuum. The championship leader's got a hell of a lot of work to do. Machivo there in 14th, Laser 15th, Armadi in 16th, Volbeek in 17th, and Venom in 18th. 0.878 is the gap between 1st and last out on track, which is absolutely phenomenal to see, and it just comes to show that we're going to see a close race.
Yeah, I think it is going to be pretty close. That's not a bad qualifying session to get us started. A few drivers will be maybe feeling a bit more nervous than they were earlier after the mistakes that we did see in qualifying. DRS trains are going to be a given around here. You're not going to see maybe loads of overtaking at the start of the race, but maybe later on. This is a huge opportunity for Medium Pilot, though, to take the lead of the championship. Third position on the grid. Shapalele, who's on pole, is currently 13th in the championship. Venoms, who is second on the grid, is currently 21st in the championship. His teammate, who's 10th in the championship, is 4th on the grid. So no one in the top 5 in the championship, apart from me and Violet, is in the top 3 rows of the grid. This is a big opportunity for him to try and take this victory. He got so close last time out, as did Amazing Hour, of course, before he suffered that puncture. I'm sure they'll be hoping to become the first multiple winner of the season here at Silverstone.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating, of course. Let me remind you of the track map in question. 5.8 kilometres circuit. 5.8 kilometres taking them around the circuit. 3.6 miles in length. Silverstone circuit, of course. C1, C2 and C3 compounded tyres. And one thing to note, Luke, as we come in towards the end of qualifying and now into the formation lap, beautiful blue skies. Who's turned on the sunshine all of a sudden here at Silverstone?
I mean, let's be honest, if it started raining in 5 minutes' time, no one would be surprised.
I think that's honestly the British weather here. Honestly, as we see now, everyone out on track, and not surprisingly, we've got 2 different strategies, or 2 different races, essentially, if you think about it, out on track. Top 10, of course, qualifying on a set of soft compounded tyres. 11th down to 18th, that's Matthias, down to Venom, all going for set of medium compounded tyres. And if anybody decides to touch the hard round here, they're going to have a really hard time of things.
Yeah, I think the only drivers who are going to go anywhere near the hard tyres are those who've got any damage in the first couple of laps. And even then, they might be tempted to go for a set of mediums if you've started on the softs, or even if you've started on the mediums, or just pray for a later safety car to get rid of those tyres. Conventionally, it is a one-stop race. Drivers starting on the soft tyres, pitting around about lap 10 or 11 perhaps. Those starting on the mediums, lap 14 to 15, and then just seeing what they can do later on in this race. I said earlier, some of Shapalele's problems this season have started from being lower down the grid and trying to recover from a bad qualifying session. Now he's on pole position. Now we're going to see what the German can do. His teammates down in 7th position. This could now bring Amazing Hour back into things in the championship. He's had a bit of bad luck. Says this is not his favourite circuit. If he keeps it nice and clean, though, we've seen quite a few invalidations in qualifying. Who knows what the Australian could do?
Yeah, there is the Australian, of course, out on track. They'll be hoping to try and do Mark Webber from back in the day around Britain, getting a really good result, of course, Mark Webber did. Did Mark Webber ever win the British Grand Prix? I don't think he did.
Twice, I think.
Twice.
2012 he won it, and 2010 was the Red Bull gives you wings unless your name is Mark Webber, in which case they give them to Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, so Amazing Hour, obviously, you'd be trying to channel the inner Mark Webber, I think, around here at Silverstone. Chapelelli, though, out on top. Venom's in second, Medium Pilot in third. I'll come to you, Luke, as we've got Venom going very slowly coming out of Stowe. Who on earth is your top 3?
I'm going to go for, I think Medium Pilot's going to fight his way up to take the victory. Chapelelli in second, and you know what? I think Perpetuum can sneak his way up and get onto the podium still.
Very interesting indeed. I'm going to predict the top 3. Why not? I'm going to go Amazing Hour for the win. I think Medium Pilot will be second, and I think Bianchi will be third. So there you go. See who gets that right towards the end of this race. And of course, this circuit, 26 laps awaiting the drivers out on track. Briefly, I was going to be in Chapelelli's car for a second there, but the 5 red lights are now on here at TTML Division 1 for round 6 of the championship, as Bullet Boy has got a jump start. Lights down, away we go, and Chapelelli gets a good start. Venoms gets a good start as well. So does Medium Pilot, and so does Lando off the start as well. The 2 racing points go side by side, but Chapelelli leads through turn 1. Everyone's clean through, as now we come to the pinch point on the circuit in towards Village for the first time. Chapelelli leads, Venom's in second. Everyone looks very clean through, I've got to say. Medium Pilot in third, Lando in fourth, Bianchi in fifth as they come out of the Village for the first time. Now through Raintree and on the one down towards the Wellington Straight. Chapelelli leading 2/10 of a second. The Mercedes right on the coattails though of that Williams ahead. Medium Pilot third, Lando in fourth. Really clean start, possibly the cleanest start of the race season so far, as the time will try to look at Amazing Recon for 6th position.
Yeah, very clean start indeed. I was just watching from behind one of the cars up front to try and see what I thought was going to be inevitable contact in the background, but this could well be one of the first races I've commentated on at Silverstone where there hasn't been any dramas on lap 1. I think Volbeek's had a bit of an issue, maybe on his own though, at this moment in time. Didn't see him have contact with anyone, and we'll check if he has got any damage. No, he hasn't, so I think that might have just been a slight slide on his own accord, maybe not quite used to what the medium tyres are doing on the heavy fuel at this point in the race. Everyone seemed to get a good start out of the front drivers. Dobby and Matthias are battling in the background, and yeah, everything stayed the same for the top 6. The Tarmo moving up a few positions, as did Imady. Dobby, the biggest loser, going down 3.
Mizunoa tries to go round the outside of the Tarmo. There's contact. The Australian makes contact with the German, and now that brings about a second gap to Recon just ahead. And look at Kumblayan behind as well as we come on to lap 2 out of 26. And it is Schiaparelli who leads Venom second, medium pilot third, Lando in fourth, Bianchi in fifth as we go side by side. Actually, Kumblayan then going side by side, and that is Perpetum making contact with him. Perpetum trying to go around the outside. That's the failing of the Goldstein system there. Perpetum then is through, and he's up into 11th position, I think, on Kumblayan. Now Kumblayan really struggling to go try and get that car back going again. That is a very much a failure of the Goldstein system right there.
It's not only that, I think it's the contact system on this game in that position. In real life, you probably expect the car on the outside to be the one that ends up spinning around, but we've seen it has happened time and time again on this game. All the weight's on the front of the car, the front of F1 on the rear of the car. The front of F1 cars is pretty light, so you touch it, it doesn't take a lot to get it spinning around, and that's what's happened there, unfortunately, for Cohen Blige and Perpetuum. Actually getting away without any damage in that incident, so that'll be good news for him having started on the mediums. We'll have to see if that does go to the stewards, of course.
Very good start by everyone. No damage from everyone either. We saw Venom's run wide coming out of Cops, but Kumblayan also was right on the back of Volbeek now, I think. In fact, no. Ignore the time into the left-hand side. Schiaparelli leading though from Venom's in second. Medium pilot in third. Looking at everyone in a bit of a DRS strain, apart from Kumblayan, right down the back of the field. But Schiaparelli controlling the race from the outset so far, as it now comes to start lap 3, and there's Schiaparelli who leads and gets the new fastest lap of the race, but that's bettered by his own teammate, Amazing Hour, 27.9. I think Imady has just picked up a 3-second time penalty out on track, as now Bullet Boy tries to get onto Matthias, coming through Abbey and then into Farmer on board now with the Haas, as he comes down the inside on Matthias, and Matthias just lets him through. Bullet Boy through, and he's up into 11th. Very easy move, that.
Yeah, very easy move from Bullet Boy. I think he's actually got to come into the pits this lap because he does have that drive-through penalty. If he doesn't, he will find himself getting disqualified from the race. DRS is enabled though, and every car down from Venom down to Volbeek has the DRS at the moment. It's only Schiaparelli in first and Cohen Lige in last place who don't have it at the moment. So we've got one hell of a DRS train. This is going to make it very awkward to overtake. So moves like what we saw Perpetuum do, moves like what we've just seen Bullet Boy do, could be the best thing to do for these drivers in the first stint of the race.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. Of course, Venom as well is on the back of Laser further down the field, 15th and 16th position. This is for the Renault right on the back of the McLaren. Luckily, everyone has not picked up any damage, as I say. Looking at the tyre wear, actually, Schiaparelli, is that right? Coming up on my task system. He's got 0% on all of the tyres. He's actually going to come under attack from Venoms, running down in towards Stowe. He's not going to get the move done there, though, Venoms. But Schiaparelli, I think there's been a bit of a bug in the task system tonight. It's saying Schiaparelli has got 0% tyres on that set of soft compounded tyres, and now Venoms right on the back of Schiaparelli. And you would imagine, I think Schiaparelli has probably got about 25% worth of tyre wear on that car, with Venoms now chasing them down with similar tyre wear.
Yeah, you'd expect him to maybe just have a bit less than Venoms, because Venoms is obviously stuck right behind him in his dirty air, so Schiaparelli might be able to keep better use of them. But of course, he's going to have to push a lot harder through the corners, because on the straights, as they come down the Wellington straight now, Venoms is in the DRS, and I think this could well be a move for the lead of the race. Schiaparelli not really bothering to defend that, and that is the Mercedes of Venoms into the lead. In real life, they dominate Formula 1. The bottom of the constructors at this moment in time, but Venoms does take the lead of this race. Not really seeing too many gaps for him. Amazing Hour looking in danger of perhaps dropping off the back of Recon, and that might just allow the top 6 to break away if that gap does go above a second.
Bullet Boy came into the pit lane to serve up his drive-through penalty as well, so he's came out right down plumb last in 18th position. He's now behind Kuhnblei by about 20 seconds out on track. But Vams looks like he's got control now over this race from Schiaparelli in second. Lando, I'm really surprised that he's keeping up with Medium Pilot. Medium Pilot's not really getting close enough, as now Schiaparelli's going to get close enough to Venoms, trying to go around the outside, coming in towards Stowe, the Mercedes and the Williams, tries to go all the way around the outside. I tell you what, he's got the move done. Surely on the inside line, Venoms is on the outside line, and Schiaparelli is through. Brilliant stuff around the outside through Stowe. It's not an uncommon move at all, and Venoms now drops to second. He had the lead for about 3/4 of the lap, and now Schiaparelli bites back.
Yeah, fantastic move from Schiaparelli. I was on board with that move as well, just looking at the back of the car. I think he actually managed it cleanly as well. He didn't put all four wheels over the white line, so a great move there from Schiaparelli. All this battling might just help the Racing Points catch up ever so slightly at this moment in time. You've also got Bianchi and Recon not too far behind either, and Amazing Hour just do enough to stay in DRS range and drag the rest of this train along with them. That is really good news for those on the medium tyres, and look who the lead car is at the moment on the mediums. He's in 9th place, but Perpetuum looking pretty good in that Ferrari.
Yeah, Perpetuum, of course, might go to the stewards, of course, with that incident with Kuhnblei. I think it was, to be honest, an issue with the contact system, or an issue with the ghosting system as well on the game. Dobby is trying to chase him down, and Dobby has got more tyre wear than Perpetuum at this stage. Perpetuum's got about 16% on his front left, and the front left is the one that really takes the pounding around here as Recon closes up right onto the back of Bianchi, coming through Maggots and Beckett. Now the Italian under pressure from the Dutchman, and the Dutchman will be hoping to try and bite back. Lando as well on the back of Medium Pilot, but Recon on the back of Bianchi. Nobody is going to get a move done down in towards the Stowe complex, and then towards Vale and Club once again. Schiaparelli leading Venoms in second, Medium Pilot in third. I will stay on board with the battle for the lead. I've got to go and switch off a computer downstairs. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, so we have got this battle for the lead of this race. 6 cars really looking like they're mainly involved in it at the moment. Amazing how we're having a bit of a better lap last time around. And you imagine it will be one of these cars that's towards the back of this train that is forming in this race. Maybe someone like Recon, Amazing Hour or Datamo, who would come into the pits earliest. Lap 9, I think, will be the earliest we will see anyone come into the pits and have a nice, comfortable run towards the mediums at the end of the race. But you can just see at this moment in time, they all close up to each other as we head down towards Brooklands. But because everyone's got the DRS, no one might as well have it, and they're not able to take advantage. Schiaparelli is doing a fantastic job of holding his DRS at the moment, though. He's nearly at 90%, so not using too much whatsoever. Volderbeek has had a spin in the McLaren, has got away without any damage, though. It's not going ideal for him in this race, and of course he does have that 10-second penalty to contend with later on. So finishing in the top 10, it's going to be a big struggle for him unless something happens, and I think he's overheated the tyres, and he is around again. Now, can Venoms get close enough to Schiaparelli to get an overtake done here? And you can see the effect of the DRS, just really no one close enough to have a go into Stowe. It's not the heaviest braking zone, and unless you've got part of your car already alongside, it's going to be difficult. And Lando, quite a lot earlier than I think anyone would have expected, is into the pits. This is a very aggressive strategy from the Racing Point of Lando. Surely we might actually, well, mediums might just about make it towards the end of the race, or will he go for the hards, knowing that he can push a bit faster? He'll come out in plenty of clean air at this moment in time, and it is, I can tell you, going to be a set of the medium tyres going on the Racing Point, so he might be in a bit of trouble with tyre wear later on. At the front, though, as you can see, Schiaparelli just for a second there looked as though he was going to be in a bit of trouble to Venoms, but just pulls out that gap, the dirty air in Formula 1, of course, that they're going to try and contend with the 2022 regulations to lessen the effect of following another car. You can see he's really struggling at the moment. Volby retires in the pits, so he is out of the race. He won't be picking up the 2 points for 18. Lap 7, Schiaparelli, Venoms, Medium Pilot, Bianchi, Recon, Amazing Hour, Datamo, Perpetuum, the lead car on the medium tyres, Dobby, Matthias for top 10 drivers at this moment in time. Then you've got Machiro, Imedy, Laser, Venom, Cohen and Lando, Bullet Boy, the final car. I can tell you both Renault drivers. You can see that black and white flag, 3 penalty seconds at this moment in time. And still now as Cohen Blige actually picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. Still Schiaparelli just staying far enough ahead. We have got a little bit of a break in this group at the moment, as now Venoms comes into the pits, perhaps reacting to what he saw Lando do earlier on.
Yeah, Venom's into the pit lane, Amazing now also into the pit lane, so I wonder if that's a counteract Venom's coming into the pit lane as well. So, Venom's then in from second position. He made a very late decision to come into the pit lane as well. Set of mediums will go on, and he will try and get 18 laps on those tyres towards the end of the race. Recon is under pressure, is pressurising Bianchi though for third. Tries to lunge it down the inside and towards Village, and now through the loop. And now in towards Aintree, and on the run down towards Wellington Straight. And now Recon sizing up this move. Look at this. This is job done halfway down the Wellington Straight. Recon absolutely sailed on by as Bullet Boy sets a new fastest lap of the race. It is Recon through, and he's up into third position as Amazing Hour rejoins behind Bullet Boy, behind Lando, and behind Venoms as well.
Yes, he might find it pretty awkward to get past Bullet Boy because those mediums are still going to be in a pretty decent condition at this moment in time. 15% on his front left tyre, so no dangers whatsoever with tyre wear of these drivers on the mediums getting towards the end of the race. Bullet Boy, of course, does have to come into the pits once again after serving his drive-through penalty. So Lando can easily get towards the end of the race. He's a very aggressive undercut. Will he have enough tyres left to be able to defend from those who are going a bit longer in this race, like Chapelele, Medium Violet, those top 5 at the moment, and Dobby as well. We will have to wait to see. As Chapelele, a lot of drivers, a lot of people in the chat have been playing when Chapelele going to bottle it. Anyone who had lap 8, buy yourself a Coke.
Surprised we're not playing Hangman like we were in League of Europe on our stream. But Chapelele then into the pit lane. Yeah, 5-second penalty being picked up there for Chapelele spinning into the pit lane. If you go just 1 mile an hour above the limit, you will get punished around this track, and that is for certain as now Chapelele comes in. And I thought he got held in the pit lane there, but he hasn't. He's going to come out, I think, just maybe ahead of Lando. And Lando's going to get a really good undercut here, actually. Is he going to be in the lead of the race, perhaps? Lando coming through. He's going to join in second. Net second position for Lando. There's Chapelele. It's going to be very tight on exit, but Lando is just in behind Chapelele. But what an undercut that is.
Yeah, and Lando doesn't have any penalty at the moment, and Chapelele's got 5 seconds, which, unless there is a safety car, he won't be coming in again, so that will be added to his time at the end of the race. Lando now in that very nice position where you can just sit behind the car in front and know you're going to take this on penalties. These guys are racers, though. They don't want to sit behind the car in front. They want to go for every single move wherever possible. Amazing Hour down the inside of Recon, who's trying something different in this race. And whoa, he was trying to go down the inside at Luffield there, and the gap was never really going to stay open. That's allowed Tatamo to go through. I think that was a mistake from Recon. I get a funny feeling going on the hard tyres might have also been a mistake. He might find it hard just to stay on the back of this train and could be in trouble.
I think he will be in trouble, certainly. He's obviously gone. He doesn't feel, I think, that the mediums can go towards the end of the race. So that's why he's going on Tracetta hard. But anyone that's going on Tracetta hard compounded tyres, they're going to struggle towards the end of the race. That's what we were saying early on. Bianchi then is into the pit lane, now running down into 9th position. And there he is, the Ferrari coming into the pit lane. On goes a set of medium compounded tyres. Totomo, in the meantime, is through on Bullet Boy. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. I'm not sure who that is in Sector 3. Very strange, that one. Was it Kuhn Bly? I think it was Kuhn Bly who made a mistake through Sector 3, through Chapel, I think it was, as Recon retires from the session. After making a mistake, he retires from the session, and again, really, really unfortunate. He's really not having a great time of things here in TTML, and that's just another race that has gone down the pot for him.
Yes, I think the yellow flag might have actually been Bullet Boy, just seeing all these cars come up behind him that are fighting for the lead of the race, and he was thinking, I don't want any part of this. You could take these positions. I'm staying well out of the way. Recon made a slight mistake. Maybe forgot to change the strategy early on, and the game suggested to go to the hard tyres, and he didn't realise. Maybe he was trying to just change the downforce level on his car, and he accidentally changed the tyres coming into the pits, and it was too late to do anything about it. But such a shame for him. Shame for the race as well, because it looked like he did have pretty good pace. We are down to 16 runners, though. Medium Violet in the lead of this race, but he's not going to be for much longer. He's putting on surely a set of the medium tyres, gets it slowed down comfortably enough, and that puts our championship leader for Petem into the lead for now, and Dobby also into the pits as well. We'll see where all these guys come out relative to like Chapelele and Lando and all those others at this moment in time. These two, Chapelele and Lando, have actually built a bit of a gap over Venoms.
I'll tell you now, I think Medium Part's going to be ahead of Amazing Hour coming out the pit lane. I think these guys have undercut enough, as he is coming out the pit lane now. He's halfway down the pit lane, as now we're going to see what Amazing Hour and the likes of Venoms and the likes of Lando can do. And they're coming out towards the final couple of corners. Chapelele is coming past him now. He is going to be behind Lando at least, and I think he's going to be behind Venoms, is he? Venoms is coming out behind him, so actually Medium Pilot just a position ahead. Oh, as Venoms nearly gets the lock up into the back there of Medium Pilot, and Venoms really trying to push that on the back of Medium Pilot. Medium Pilot, for him, has actually dropped out of the DRS zone as now Lando comes onto the back of Schiaparelli. These two from League of Europe Division 1 are going to battle here at Silverstone, like they did actually in Silverstone in League of Europe for round 2 of the championship. Lando now on the back of Schiaparelli, and Lando will be hoping his warmer tyres will begin to come into play.
Yes, that could also help Venoms as well. Medium Pilot, well, these drivers are a lot more skillful than me, but I was going to say, I normally take a bit of a steady first lap when I'm on a different set of tyres, just to get used to where all the braking points are at this day in history. Yes, you do tons of practice, but air temperature's different, track temperature is different as well, and we've got some good battles going on throughout the field at the moment in time. Just look towards the top. Bashiro and Imadi getting pretty close together.
Yeah, Imadi was on the inside line, tried to go. Mashiro nearly cut off his end plate, actually, coming through there. Coming through slow as well. Lando right on the back of Schiaparelli. We've got the Tomo catching Amazing Hour as well. Amazing Hour's dropped off the back of Venoms, in fact, after coming out the pit lane. But Imadi trying to go down the inside line. I wonder if he's going to try and have a go down the Wellington Straight in towards Brooklands to try and get a move done here. But Perpetuum leading away, Matthias in second, Mashiro third, Imadi in fourth. Later then in fifth, and then Venom in sixth, as now Imadi closes up to the back of Mashiro. Not quite close enough though, and the Scotsman still on the back of the Japanese man, the Division 2 champion, of course. Later and Venom not too far away either. Schiaparelli and Lando, I think they're going to have their own private battles that goes on. Imadi is actually sort of spun it coming out of left field, recovers the car. No damage on that car, he just got caught on the curb, I think. Lando's run on the back of Schiaparelli coming in towards Brooklands.
Yes, he is indeed going very late into Luffield. That's to try and get as late an apex as possible and get a straight enough run down the National Straight to have a go into Cops. He's not going to be able to do this time. Recon saying he went for the mediums and the game putting on the hard tyres. That's not the first time I've heard that happening. Some people might go, oh, it's a racing driver's excuse. I've seen full evidence of drivers selecting one tyre and coming to the pits and a completely different tyre being picked, as we've now got Laser and Mashiro battling side by side as they come through Vale. Laser's trying to go all the way around the outside of Mashiro. He's going to have the inside line for the second part, but he doesn't want to get chopped off, a bit like we saw Magnussen and Albon earlier on this year. Now is Laser going to be able to have a run all the way down to Abbey. This is going to be incredibly brave if he's going to go for a manoeuvre here.
Look at Venom! Venom's around the edge of the Laser. Laser got caught up there. Imadi's retired into the pit lane, but Venom is through on Laser. That's an absolute sensational run. He just got the overrun out of turn 1, out through Abbey and then into Farm. And Venom is through on Laser, and Laser's just wondering now, what on earth has just happened? Is that Venom's going to try and chase down Mashiro for third position?
Very opportunistic from Venom. That was the thing on the inside line into Abbey. It's always going to be a pinch point, and Laser was always going to have to slam on the brakes to avoid just causing pretty much an airplane crash between himself and Mashiro. Venom saw that coming. Great opportunistic move to get around the outside. Great awareness for Laser as well to realise that he was there and not end up chopping off that line either. Amazing Hour now getting past by Bianchi. I saw him drop behind Atarmo earlier, so that's 2 places lost in quick succession for Amazing Hour. He is now down in 12th place. Currently, though, that is a net 7th, which is pretty much where he started. His teammates in a net 1st place, which is where he started the race. That 5-second penalty could prove to be fairly costly, especially if Lando, Medium Pilot and Venoms stay as close behind him as Venom down the inside of Mashiro into Stowe. He's into 3rd.
Really good battle this for third position. As now Mashiro tries to go around the outside and towards Vale. Venom is not having any of that. Venom hangs on for third, Mashiro fourth, Laser in fifth, and now Laser's going to try and fight back on Mashiro. Venom now in the prime spot, but the Japanese man, you would hope, is going to try and close in on the back of Laser. We run there through Abbey and Farm. We're halfway through the race. Perpetuum leading Matthias second, Venom in third, Mashiro fourth, and Laser in fifth. Lando is not getting past Schiaparelli just yet, and in fact, he's under pressure from his own teammate in behind him, Medium Pilot. He's 2.5 tenths behind. Coming across the line, and Venoms has just picked up the new fastest lap of the race with the 27 flat, and he's got a fastest lap point going his way currently. His Medium Pilot is on the back of his teammate. Venoms, though, really up for this, and I think the more tired wear that you have, or the more tyre life that you have, he's been on 5 laps, Lando's been on 6 laps. The fresher tyres seem to be doing a lot worse, I think, compared to the ones that are warmer.
Yeah, maybe just taking a bit of time to warm up. I think it's about 22 degrees at the moment here at Silverstone. 30 degrees track temperature, so not about average of what you see for most of the circuits on this game. You never really see track temperatures way off into the high 30s, 40s on an extremely hot day, which would just absolutely cook the tyres. But yeah, the older tyres are holding up at the moment. Just having a look at the tyre wear, medium pilot at this moment in time, he has, actually my task system has completely frozen, so I would love to tell you what the tyre wear is at this moment in time.
11%. Medium pilot's got 11% on his tyres. Around him, Venom's has got 18%, I think, or 23%. And then behind him, Dotoma, who's a reserve, 18% for him. Lando's got 22%, both on the front left and the rear left tyres. So both front and rear for Lando car really struggling as medium pilot tries to get onto the back. Bashiro and Papetin, by the way, onto a set of soft compounded tyres. Can they last 12 laps to the end?
Easily last 12 laps to the end. Well, I say that now. I think we saw, 10 laps earlier? I think we saw 10 or 11 laps from medium pilot, and that was on a full set of fuel loads. I can't see any reason why they can't at the moment. Where is Perpetuum going to come out? He's in 12th place and at this moment in time, so that is now a tyre style in the lead of this race. He's having a pretty good race at the moment. He was very close to the back of Perpetuum. We saw him have a podium this season. What can he do as he fights his way through the field? Or what can Perpetuum do at this moment in time? Currently about 10 seconds off the back of Shafalele. I see no reason why he can't start catching up to those guys, getting ahead of Dobby, who's on his own at the moment. It's just once he catches up to that DRS train, how's he going to try and work his way past those cars? That is the important question for Perpetuum's race, because as it stands at the moment, medium pilot, I believe, would take the championship lead.
He would take the championship lead. Matthias then into the pit lane from the lead. Venom and Later. Later staying out at least another lap. But Venom is also in and gets the car stopped, not like Shafalele earlier on, picking up that 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Lando on the back of Shafalele. Can the Brit make it 2 wins in a row, or can Shafalele hold his own out in front? Can we have our 6th different winner of the season? I know, we're more like British touring cars at this stage, you may be thinking. But Laser now leads, Matthias then in second currently, but Shafalele now coming past, Lando coming past, medium pilot as well, go past the cars, as now that is a Haas of Bullet Boy coming into the pit lane, 14-lap-old mediums coming in. He will go on for fresh set of softs. He's going to be well out the back of the field, and later Shafalele, Lando currently your top 3. But I've got a feeling Lando was just waiting, sitting in behind on the back here of Shafalele, and be hoping to try and make Shafalele go into a bit of a mistake. Lando, I mean, has got 32% worth of ERS. Shafalele, apparently, according to me, has got 0% worth of ERS. But I'll get this up for your screen quickly for the benefit. He's got 46% of ERS. Lando behind has got 40% of ERS, so they're around the same level.
Yeah, around the same level. Medium pilot's on 82% at this moment in time. So if the two in front start battling and burning their ERS, medium pilot's going to be right on the back of these guys. If I was Lando, this is not a bad position to be in at the moment. Let's say he goes for an overtake on Shafalele and it forces Shafalele into a mistake, and then he's got medium pilot all over the back of him. They might be teammates. I think we could see a bit of warring teammates a la Mansell and PK 1987, because medium pilot's obviously got a lot more to think about in terms of a championship rather than Lando. They both want to get the wins, of course. Lando wanting to take one in front of his home ground, a second one in the row. But as long as he sticks in Shafalele's DRS, can't see Media Pilot going for an overtake. If they both get ahead of the Williams, Lando might find it a bit more tricky.
How is that a 3-second time penalty for Venom? He ran wide slightly coming out of Stowe, got the move done on Kuhn Bly, forced him even further out wide. There should be a 3-second time penalty for Kuhn Bly, but Venom is through. He's up into 13th position, sets the new fastest lap of the race as well. So he's going really, really great guns out on track. Shafalele, Lando, medium pull up first, second and third currently. I think Venom actually set the fastest third sector, as opposed to the fastest lap, because he just came out of the pit lane, of course, in 12th position. As now he's on the back of Mashiro, and he tries to get the Division 2 champion. These two have had a bit of blows in the past, and now Venom looks the inside on Mashiro. I don't think Mashiro's going to put up much of a fight here. Venom is through, and he's into Brooklands, and he's into 11th position. Really good stuff by Venom, and he's having one of those races where he's going under a little bit of the radar, but he's making his way through the field. Can he get into the top 10?
I don't see why not, to be perfectly honest. He's currently, what, about 5-6 seconds off the top 10? 9.5 laps to go. Big time advantage. It is very possible indeed. He's got to keep it clean. We haven't seen too many penalties at the moment. Only Shafalele, Venom, Mashiro and Kuhn Blige with penalties. Of course, the one for Shafalele was a pit lane speeding penalty, not a track limits penalty. So Venom needs to keep it clean from that point, but it's like a switch flicked on like lap 11 or lap 12 of this race, and he just thought, right, I'm going for it. And he has done absolutely fantastically since then as Bullet Boy. Almost looks as though he's tried to head towards the old pit entry there. Unfortunately for him, there's a wall on the exit of Woodcut. Breaks his front wing, but is able to carry on in this race. If he gets that changed back to the pits, could still maybe go for a fastest lap point later on.
Yeah, Venom's 26.6 fastest lap so far. Yeah, I think Bullet Boy should come into the pit lane, go for that fastest lap point. But then again, he could be prone to having Kuhn Bly possibly take that away from him later on in the race. As we now on to lap 18 out of 26. Schiaparelli leading from Lando in second, Medium Pilot in third. Got to be honest now, we're beginning to see the swing. Medium Pilot's now on fresher tyres. He's beginning to get into contention, and now he's right on the back of Lando. Lando, I know for a fact, is not going to give this position up without a fight. You think these guys are teammates? They definitely won't be after this.
Well, I said earlier on in qualifying, there didn't seem to be any communication between them at the moment, and if there was, I imagine that Medium Pilot would be saying, get out of the something way at this moment in time, because he's got a championship to fight for, and Lando probably, despite his pace, he's probably going to be a bit too far behind with the consistency that some of these drivers are showing at the moment. So Lando might, now that he's realised his teammates behind him, might think, right, I'm going to get past Schiaparelli and try and put a bit of a gap ahead of you at this moment to make sure that that move can't happen. Bianchi, however, has used for DRS to get himself ahead of D'Artamo, and you can just see these guys came out of the pits not really too far behind the top four drivers. That gap all of a sudden up to about 4.5 seconds. Dobby's got onto the back of them. I've got to say, I'm surprised Perpetuum hasn't closed up to the back of these guys as quickly as he is doing. He's still about 2 seconds off the back of the Haas.
He is indeed, and Perpetuum, yeah, really shocked. He's obviously in the clear out on track, but Dobby's just dropped up a second off Amaze now, so that's now out of DRS range as Lando, Medium Pilot and the likes of the leaders now come through entry for the 19th time, and Schiaparelli leads, Lando in second, Medium Pilot third. But I think what it boils down to between the two racing points is they're in the lead of the constructors first and foremost. Bianchi and Perpetuum 5th and 9th, they're outscoring them. Lando, I think, wants personal pride, 4-lap older tyres than Medium Pilot. Are they going to get to the end of the race, first and foremost, or are they going to go by the wayside, and is he trying to get to the end of the race on those sides? As now Medium Pilot has a sensational run coming out of Maggots and Beckett, and now runs onto the back of the fellow Brit. The German's still out in front, though, of Schiaparelli. I've got to be honest, though, if I was in, as Schiaparelli picks up another time penalty out on track, Lando now tries to close up onto the back once again. 0.3 of a second. Look at the closing speed, actually, of Lando. Is he going to try and think about having to go for a move? No. Schiaparelli leading the way. Lando in second. Medium Pilot in third. If I was in Medium Pilot's shoes at this point, I would try and go for the move. If I was in Lando's position at this point, I would try and force Schiaparelli into a mistake. And I would have the 2 racing points facing the lead of the race.
Yes, we do. Effective lead, of course. Schiaparelli with that 8 seconds of penalties now. 7 laps to go. Lando's tyres, 39% on the front left and the rear left. He's already done 12 laps on them. So if we add just over half, we're talking, what, 63, 64% tyre wear at the end? You don't really see punctures until you're getting above 70. I just noticed Schiaparelli had a huge moment there as he was coming through Aintree. He's got away with it, though. Lando not getting the best exit in the dirty air, and on those slightly older tyres. The one who has actually got the oldest tyres out of all these front group is Venom's. He's 44% on the front left, and he's actually about 40% on the rear left. So he looks like he's got a more, maybe, understeery car at the moment. Maybe not as quick on the top end speed through some of the corners, maybe just a bit more stable and a bit more comfortable, and that could help him later on, perhaps, as the tyres get older.
Yeah, 0.7 of a second, but Venom's, I think, is just overwearing his tyres slightly. Looks like he's got more of an aggressive driving style, I think, out on track, as opposed to the likes of Lando. And Lando has cut about 5% off on what Venom's is doing, just 2 positions behind him, as now Medium Pilot looks to the inside line on Lando, and he's got a thing about going for the move. Medium Pilot on the inside line, nearly makes contact with his own teammate, trying to force it down the inside line, but Lando hangs on for second, and now that brings Schiaparelli into a bit of a gap of 0.8 of a second as they come through Velen Club for the 20th now onto the 21st lap. Schiaparelli leads, Lando in second, Medium Pilot in third. Medium Pilot, to be honest, I think he was entitled to go for the move. He just got a bit of a half spin, essentially, coming out the corner and nearly collected with Lando, but Medium Pilot's still in third. Venom's has not got through in all of that as well. And the top 4, because they're in so much of a DRS train, they're keeping that gap very stabilised to Bianchi in 5th.
Yeah, I don't think there was any nearly about did Medium Pilot and Lando make contact. There was definitely a bit of end plate rubbing across side pod there. More, I think, Medium Pilot just maybe going a bit too deep for Lando. He gave him room, but I don't think he was willing just to wave the white flag and let his teammate straight through at the moment. Further back for Petcham, he's managed to get down the inside into Brooklands on Dobby, so he's now up into 8th position. He's going to get onto the back of Amazing Hour, Ditamo and Bianchi. After penalties, you know, there is a slim chance though that we could still see Petcham on the podium, because Venoms has 3 seconds of penalties at the moment and Chapelele has 8 seconds, and for Petcham 8.3 seconds behind Chapelele at this moment in time. Do not count him out for the Ferrari just sneaking onto the podium. Still 6 laps of racing to go. Still always the possibility that we might see some more penalties. We might even see some more overtakes towards the front, because Lando now looking very close to the back of Chapelele.
You literally just said that. Matthias has just gone through on Dobby. Well, I was trying on board with Matthias through, and he's up into 9th position. Mashiral's run on the back of Venom as well, just in behind. That's 11th and 12th. Plenty of battles beginning to spawn here at Silverstone, but Chapelele leading the way. On to lap 22 we go. Lando in 2nd, Medium Pilot in 3rd. Gotta be honest, Medium Pilot's just dropped off slightly. Lando beginning to use that up to good effect, and now Ditamo an Amazing Hour, and nearly side by side as they come through Abbey and then Farm, and then into the village section once again, and they're right on the back of Bianchi, of course, 4th, 5th position. It's essentially best of the rest race at this point, as now Lando tries to get Chapelele. Chapelele defends to the inside line. Lando's got to try and clean sail him around the outside. He dips in underneath him, and Chapelele still remains in the lead of the race. Lando was entitled to try and go for the move, but going around the outside of Brooklyn, very, very difficult, especially when you've got all the tyres.
Yes, they are indeed, and they're both running pretty low on their VRS at this moment in time, especially compared to Medium Pilot, who's looking very comfortable, and that could be, later on in the race, that could be a massive difference indeed. If Medium Pilot decides to just go into overtake on the straights, I'm not sure Lando and Chapelele would have a lot to fight with. You can see how close they're getting to the back of each other through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, and you can see how much time they're then losing in the dirty air, and I think we're about to see the Racing Points take battle once again here as Medium Pilot trying to go down the inside of Lando. Needs to be careful that he don't make contact with Chapelele. He's got the position done. That is Medium Pilot then up into 2nd place. The German Chapelele is his next target, and I think Medium Pilot might find that a bit easier to get past the Williams than he did his own teammate. 4 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm being honest, he was entitled to go for the move, but he did force his own teammate off track, and now Medium Pilot is going to go and have a go at Chapelele running into the village section. No, he doesn't. Chapelele still in the lead of the race. Medium Pilot in 2nd. I think Lando will be ganged up for that as there's yellow flag in Sector 1. But look, boy, I think that is letting everyone through. He's now a lap down on the whole field, and the whole field, actually, speaking of which, is covered by 12.3 seconds out on track, which is so close. It's like we've never really seen it this close before around at Silverstone. Chapelele leads the way. Medium Pilot in 2nd, Lando in 3rd. 3.5 laps to go. Matthias and Medium Pilot now draw battle the Red Bull, trying to go around the outside of the Ferrari, and now he's on the inside line through the field. Petcham is still there though. Matthias is on the inside line. He's got the car move. He's got the car through. He's got the move done. Petcham's going to try and fight back, but no. Matthias, brilliant stuff. He is through and he's up into 8th position. Another driver that has been under the radar. Same with Venom as well tonight. Matthias through and he's up into 8th. He can catch Amazing Hour and Ditamo, who is now going to lock on with Bianchi as well, as Medium Pilot is going to lock on with Chapelele running down the straight, and he's allowed to weave down the straight, and Medium Pilot doesn't even need to weave down the straight. He is through all the way around the outside. Cleaner tyres coming into play, and he's through and he's into the lead of the race as Ditamo through on Bianchi and Petcham back through on Matthias.
Yeah, one Ferrari gaining a position, one Ferrari losing a position, but the biggest winner obviously Medium Pilot there up into the lead of this race. I think this is closer than what we saw towards the end at Austria, which is amazing because Austria, of course, had that safety car that bunched the field back up. 14 drivers, 12.5 seconds. Those penalties are going to prove really costly for drivers like Chapelele and Venoms that are up towards the front of the order, so people are going to have to be really careful now. It's going to be interesting to see whether Medium Pilot can just try and extend that gap at this moment in time. He only needed one opportunity to try and get ahead of Chapelele. He took it. He's looking very good to become the first multiple winner this season and the championship leader. Very nice performance so far, especially considering he missed a race this season. And with every position apart from 20th scoring a point here, who knows what place he could be in at this moment in time. He's taking advantage of some fantastic driving from himself and maybe a mini blip in form from Petcham at the moment, although he's still looking good to get a good result after qualifying down in 12th.
Petcham had this last season though, where he had a bit of a blip in form and then just came back all of a sudden and then won, I think, a couple of races on the trot. So Medium Pilot will be hoping to try and outscore him certainly here tonight in terms of the championship. And this is now coming down to the boiling point. Heart of Courage, insert music here. Moment coming up. Medium Pilot leading the way. Schiaparelli in second. Lando in third. As we now come on board with Papetum on the run down and towards Stowe once again. He's on the back of Amazing Hour. Amazing Hour, I've been quite disappointed with, to be honest. He's just been caught in a bit of a train. Totomo obviously getting past on Bianchi. Kumblay's just picked up a 3-second time pretty further down the field. But Amazing Hour, I would have expected him to make a lot more progress than what he actually has done.
I think he admitted himself, earlier on in the Discord chat, that this perhaps isn't his favourite circuit. He might be making some progress here, so, on the inside of Bianchi into Village. Oh, there's contact between the two of them there. Bianchi just about, Amazing Hour, just about able to hold on to the car. And maybe the biggest winner out of all this is going to be A. D'Armo and B. Perpetuum and Matthias, who have been able to catch up. Now, DRS open on the Ferrari and on the Williams. Can he go down the inside into Brooklands? Bianchi just about giving him enough room all the way around the outside into Luffield. It'd be an absolutely fantastic manoeuvre if he can pull it off. He's got a good traction out of that corner as well. He's using the ERS as well, and he might just about manage this here before we get to Cops. Fantastic move from Amazing Hour. He takes 6th position, and he gets himself a 3-second time penalty on the exit. Underwing all that hard work.
I was just about to say, I literally said, he hasn't done much this race, and then he goes and does that, and then he picks up a 3-second time penalty. As now Schiaparelli is back through for the lead of the race, so Medium Pilot now overtaken for the lead of the race, as I nearly choke on my own words. Schiaparelli leading, for Medium Pilot in second, Lando in third, as Amazing Hour and Bianchi go side by side coming out of Stowe. Just in the background of shot Matthias and Papetum are looking quite close, and Amazing Hour in fact is into the pit lane. So Amazing Hour, I'm not sure whether he was forced into the pit lane, and he's into the pits, and I'm totally befuddled as he retires from the session. He didn't get forced into the pit lane, did he? Don't think he did.
I saw him spear off to the right. Did he just get some wheel spin, and then when he saved it, he's ended up in the pit lane? But, yeah. Answers on a postcard, ladies and gentlemen, as to what just happened there.
Oh, goodness me, even the lead commentator and even Luke Etheridge doesn't know. Goodness me, Schiaparelli, Medium Pilot, Lando, currently your top 3. It is going to be Medium Pilot, though, who I think is taking this. But I tell you what, Lando has suddenly picked up the pace quite a lot out on track, and now he's going to try and reach Medium Pilot down in towards Stowe. And this might not be over between the two racing points as Medium Pilot gets quicker. Going out of Maggots and Beckett's. All relies really on Schiaparelli getting a good run out through Maggots and Beckett's. Later on Mashiro, a side-by-side further down the field, but Schiaparelli leading out on track. He's got that 5-second and that 3-second penalty, of course, and now Lando has got a sensational run on the back of Medium Pilot. Medium Pilot, though, pulls away, and I think that's the last chance saloon there for Lando. He's not going to get close enough to the back of Medium Pilot unless Schiaparelli backs Medium Pilot back into Lando. Schiaparelli then coming around the final couple of corners. He might have been a Britain merchant, but it's ended up more being bottle-like. Schiaparelli running around the final corner. He is going to win here in Britain, but the race is going to go to Medium Pilot. Schiaparelli so unlucky with the penalties, did everything right. Lando across the line in second, and to Racing Point 1-2 finish, and I think that's the second time this season, obviously with Austria last time. Venom has just left the session as well. He has crashed actually coming out through as Bullet Boy is coming across the line now to finish in 14th. Venom retired. Venom has not been counted on the results, I don't think. I'm not sure if he crashed or if he spun or got contacted by anybody. Remains to be seen. Driver of the day, though, awarded to Papetum.
I'm not sure what's happened there. I think there might have been like some sort of almost like glitch lobby at the end. We saw a few strange things happening in that race. Schiaparelli, I think I'll be fairly happy that he's, got a pretty good result out of this race. But another 1-2 for the Racing Point team. They are looking very handy indeed at this moment in the championship. Medium Pilot, though, he takes the victory, and that gives him the championship lead as we see another podium for Lando, and Venom's his best result of the season in third.
Yeah, really good stuff out on track. Schiaparelli saying he will try and get the 5-second time penalty removed, and the 3-second time penalty, of course, stays there because he cut the corner. There is the finishing result, though, and it's the Racing Points, Medium Pilot and Lando swapping positions from last time out in Austria. First and second once again for the Racing Points. Venom's in third. A really good performance from him. Came under the radar a lot in that race. Totomo in fourth. Another one under the radar with Papetum in fifth. Schiaparelli all the way down in second. If he gets that 5-second penalty removed, he will finish third out on track. Bianchi in 7th with Matthias in 8th, Dobby in 9th, and Laser rounding off the top 10. Mashiro and Kuhn Bly 11th and 12th. Venom, not sure what happened to Venom in the end, had a really good race up until the final lap and up until the final couple of corners where I'm not sure if he spun or got contacted by somebody in 13th. Bullet Boy did get the fastest lap point in 14th. And Maitenauer is counted within the result in 15th. He doesn't get any points. Imadi, Recon and Volby, who did have a 10-second time penalty as well for the time penalty being added on from Austria. He didn't finish, so I think, if I'm not mistaken, that gets added on to his time next week. Can I have confirmation with that? Yes, just had it in my ear, and that gets confirmed for next week for Volby, so that'll get carried over to next week, and that's if he finishes, of course, out on track. But Luke, what a race. I think we should try and get at least, hopefully 1, maybe 2 out of the top 3 in.
Yeah, we'll give it our all. It was an absolutely fantastic race there. There was just sort of an inevitability about it, I feel. Like, it was still exciting, but once Medium Pilot came out in net 3rd position on those fresher medium tyres, we all knew there was a point where they'd become absolutely fantastic. That is what happened. He got ahead of his teammate, got ahead of Chapelele. Good tyre management in the first stint, and good ERS management as well. Fair play to Lando, because I thought he'd pitted way too early to make that strategy work. Rewarded with a second podium in a row, and Racing Point looking fantastic in the Constructors at the moment. That is now 2 1-2s in succession.
2 1-2s in succession. I wonder if that is going to continue on to next week, of course. Imadi saying, by the way, in the chat, my controller won't turn fully right. That's why he crashed and he had to retire out on track. So problem there with Imadi's controller. Hopefully that will get fixed. Just looking on the task system as well. Medium Pilot's 2nd victory of the season. Medium Pilot's 4th podium of the season. And Lando's 2nd podium after his win last time out in Austria. Venom's best result of the season. Previously finished 12th and finishes in 3rd. Prior to Chapelele, of course, trying to attribute that 5-second penalty off him, and hopefully he might get that removed. He might finish 3rd out on track. We remain to be seen. But the championship standings going into next week, the virtual championship standings going into next week, there is 8 points separating Medium Pilot and Perpetuum going into next week. Currently, as it stands, if Chapelele does not get that 5-second time penalty removed. Medium Pilot on 127, Perpetuum on 119, and then I'm trying to look for the guy in 3rd position. I can't find the guy who's in 3rd position at this point. Is it Bullet Boy? Yeah, Bullet Boy in 3rd on 96 points, with him, of course, getting 7 points plus that fastest lap point, so might be a point extra, unless that's counted in within the task system, which I believe it might be. But Medium Pilot leading going into next week. It's going to be fascinating, I think, to see how this is all going to unfold. The Perpetuum and Medium Pilot battle rolls on.
It does roll on, but it feels like it's been a while, to be honest. I'm trying to remember the last time I actually saw them battling out on circuit. It might have been the Bahrain Grand Prix, I think, the last time we saw them two battling out on track. Spain, Medium Pilot tried something different on the strategy. Didn't quite work out for him. He wasn't there in Azerbaijan. Perpetuum, qualifying's just not gone well for him in Austria and Britain, so Medium Pilot's had it pretty steady towards the front of the field. Well, maybe steady is the wrong word, actually, after the battling he had with his teammate today. That very easily could have ended wrong. It was almost like Perez and Ocon again in 2017 and 2018, seeing the two pink cars get so close together. Brilliant driving from them. Great result from Medium Pilot. Now, as he said, in the lead of the championship, still a fairly small gap of 8 points. We can see that can easily change with retirements and other things happening. He'll be feeling pretty good about himself, though, going into the final 5 races, starting with the Temple of Speed, of course, Italy next week.
Italy next week, 75% of the track can be taken at full speed, of course, there around Italy. That's a fact that you're going to hear me say plenty of within the next week, I think. But we have got our man who finished in 2nd position out on track, XL Lando once again. 2nd time you join us in the matter of 2 weeks as well. Another a really good result from you, Lando, out on track. Considering you won last time out in Austria, you must be happy with that performance.
Yeah, really happy, and that's a little bit disappointed not to win. I don't know. I think Medium Pilot, when I was always going to pit early, because the DRS train is just ridiculous around here. But yeah, I think Medium Pilot A had the pace and also B had the better tyre wear. and also, well, just the better tyres in general. I think he pit on lap 10, so yeah, he had like 4 lap fresher tyres, but yeah, can't complain on 2 podiums and a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, we saw you dicing with your teammate as well, Medium Pilot, at several points in that race as well. Did you feel at some point in that race that you might have had his number?
I think when we got to, I think it was lap 21, and I was like, I was still behind, well, I was still in front of him. I was just like, okay, we got 5 laps left. I've used Chapelele for pretty much the whole race. Can I try and keep using him for the rest of the race? But yeah, I think Medium Pilot must have had quite a bit more ERS. I used quite a bit on my outlaps to try and get ahead of Venom and Chapelele. So I think from once Chapelele had pit, I think I was already down to like 50% from 100. And obviously from there I was just trying to stay within Chapelele's DRS. I think a couple of times he even tried to get me out of it, but yeah, it was actually quite enjoyable to actually have a battle with Medium Pilot. Obviously I know how quick he is in this league, so yeah, it was quite enjoyable to have a battle with some of the top players.
It's very good to have a really good battle out on track. And I think in terms of you and league racing as well, terms, you had a really good race in League of Europe last week. You had a TTML last week in winning in Austria. You are going great guns, honestly, within league racing. Has there anything changed in your setups or in your style of driving to make sure that form is coming alive in all the leagues?
Well, before last week at Austria, I was in a party with XL Dylan, and I jokingly was like, because I had a good result in Austria LOE, and since then it's been like quite a rough patch for league racing, really, for me. So jokingly, I was like, oh, let me make a list of races that I've done since then and like all the results, and I think there was about 20 races maybe, and only 2 of them was in the top 8. So I was like, okay, yeah, something's got to change. So had a flick around with the camera settings and just did a little bit more practice, and yeah, it seems to be working at the moment. I didn't actually do a lot of practice for tonight, but I think Britain, apart from USA, is probably my 2 strongest tracks on the game. So yeah, I was always confident of my 1 lap pace. I just didn't know really in terms of race pace.
I will pass you over to Luke, who might have more questions.
He might do indeed. Yeah, again, Lando, another absolutely fantastic performance from yourself today. During qualifying, I mentioned a bit about communication between teammates, because we saw a few different teams going for slipstreaming strategies. I know we saw the Williams do it. Was it ever something you guys considered in qualifying for the Racing Point team? Is it something you'd consider at the next round? Of course, Italy, where we've seen it used to varying degrees of success, it's fair to say, in Formula One.
I've occasionally done it with like other teammates previously, but I've kind of become someone that almost gets put off in a way with slipstreaming, because occasionally it can actually get a little bit off-putting when you're coming towards a corner and your teammate's just like, he's still just like inches in front of your front wing, and you're like, okay, is he gonna get out of the way now? And obviously, like, connection occasionally can be a little bit dodgy between people, so you obviously don't know if he's suddenly going to lag back or lag in front or something. But I think we spoke about it, or we had definitely mentioned it in a previous race, but I think we both agreed just do our own qualies. So yeah, not really something we talked about, but yeah, maybe for Monza, but I don't know, possibly just do our own thing again.
Doing your own thing definitely seems to have worked so far. You're 6th in the championship, currently on 68 points. Still obviously very respectable after missing the first couple of races this season. What are your aims now for the rest of the season? It's looking like Racing Point looking good for the Constructors' Championship, so I imagine helping them win it, obviously being up there. Any personal aims for yourself, maybe? Do you think you've got a half a chance of getting this championship battle, or are you just focusing on maybe picking up a victory wherever possible?
Yeah, if I'm honest, just trying to just pick up points here and then. I don't think the title is really ever gonna be in the picture. Obviously, I don't think Perpetuum had a good race at all. Did he retire today? Or did
I
he?
think he ended up finishing in I'll just quickly get it up.
Seventh or
Fifth
eighth.
position, but if Shapalele gets his penalty removed, he may drop down to sixth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, obviously, medium pilot picked up 30 points. So yeah, he's like, I think double what I'm on at the moment. So yeah, it's always, unless the top guys really have issues and I'm able to pick up some wins. But yeah, I think there's a few rough tracks coming up. I know obviously we got Monza next, which I'm not really a fan of. I think that will be one I struggle. And the same with Mexico. The other three should actually be okay. But yeah, I think for me, I'm just happy just picking up. I don't know, really, almost just top tens. Really, I think. Obviously, everyone gets points, so yeah, I think just top tens, and then if I'm able to get top fives and even podiums, or even win some races, yeah, I think it would be quite nice to get them.
That's it for all my questions.
Yeah, just looking ahead into Monza finally. Obviously, 75% of the track is full speed. How do you think you're going to get on around Monza? Because it's completely different track to Silverstone. Yes, it might be in terms of speed, but Italy is one of the pinnacles. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
If I'm honest, I'm actually thinking I'm going to be in the bottom five for quali. Yeah, I'm really not confident about Monza. I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, I might need to change a lot of the setup. But yeah, it's one track that over any game I've not been particularly good at. I don't really know why, but yeah, it's going to be one that it's going to be a lot tougher than Austria and Britain for sure.
It is going to be fascinating to see how you and everyone else gets on, of course, in Monza. Thank you, Lando. I'll go and let you enjoy your evening.
All right, thank you. See you.
See ya. And that is the end for tonight here in TTML Division 1. Big thank you to Lando for joining us, of course, in the commentary box for that interview, and fascinating to hear about his thoughts going into Monza as well. Luke, I will come across to you for your final thoughts, summary, and, more importantly, driver of the day.
Driver of the day, I'm going to have to go for the unfortunately predictable and boring choice. Medium Pilot did everything right in that way. He didn't. I think he had a strategy in mind, and it didn't make him panic when he saw Lando and some of the others coming into the pits early. That proved to be the right thing. Coped with the pressure towards the end of the race fantastically well. I've got to give him the driver of the day, but I think today has shown again that there is a lot of quick drivers here in TTML Division 1, and although he's in the lead of the championship at the moment, Perpetuum's not too far behind, and you never know if someone else could maybe pop themselves up, maybe a bit too late to end up having a proper go at winning the championship, but there's a lot of other drivers that could have a say in which direction it goes.
A lot of other drivers can have a say, and a lot of other tracks can have to say as well. We go to Italy, of course, next week at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. I'm going to make sure that I brush up on my Italian before then. There might be a weird introduction next week, which I'll prepare Tom for on the graphics. But there we are. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in for tonight's racing here in Britain. And more action to come, of course, tomorrow night. EML, where Aidan Carter and Luke Etheridge are taking you through League One. Myself and Daniel Hoggard are taking you through the Premier Division. And it's going to be fascinating to see, with a new team as well in Premier, how that's going to unfold. 7 p.m. and 8:30 tomorrow night. Thursday, not Tuesday. Thursday is Division 2 and Division 3. It is Daniel Hoggard and Mike Edwards taking you through Division 2, Division 3, Aidan Carter-Conti, and then Division 4, myself and Paco, and Division 5, James Boyle, taking you through the action. And then we do it all over again. Sunday, TTML F2, and then Monday, CWT F1, and then we're back for Italy next week. So it's going to be fascinating to see. But Final thoughts from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please stay safe. Please keep sticking to these guidelines that we are all under at this stage. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and we will get there eventually. From myself, James Head.
From myself, Luke Etheridge.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
So sad inside and hopeless. These Hollywood hoes never notice. Can't get back up. Girl, I miss you. Can't get back up. Girl, I miss you. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. I end up alone. I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls seem polite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. How'd I end up alone? I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. How'd I end up alone? I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you're Hollywood perfect.
Yeah, I'm on my way home. I'm no good for you, so I drive around Manhattan. They're all laughing, oh, I'm tragic. Yeah, I'm driving in my car and seeing open, but I can't go down that road again. I'll smoke a cigarette, but will that help me forget you? Will that help me forget you? I just need to forget you. Oh, you. I need a dream.